Welcome to Deep Thought. You send out a broadcast. I'm gonna tell you what, every single person is sending out a type of broadcast. It could be positive, it could be negative, you know? It could, it's like when people, I would say this, have you seen people who send out a positive broadcast? And it just don't have anything to do with how they look. It's more or less the energy that they send out. It's more or less the energy. It's more or less, and it could be based on how they adorn themselves, how they walk, how they present themselves, how they speak, their clothing, everything. Like every aspect of yourself sends out a message to people. Like I give you an example, an easy example. If you go out wearing clothes that are wrinkled, bummy and everything, you ain't doing your hair, you sending out a broadcast to people. You letting them know, hey, I'm just a bum or everything. That's what they're going to think, like it or not. Or if you say, okay, you're going to make sure your hair is done. You wearing clothes a certain way. It's sending out a broadcast. Shout out Master Teacher BGS. He picked that up about me early. He noticed I would change my look and everything. That's because at a particular time, there's a certain broadcast I would be sending out. Why I do these videos, these like the Deep Thought videos, like with my bookcase as a background, as opposed to my couch or even in my car. Those are sending out different broadcasts. People who've seen the videos, and people who've noticed, they'll say, well, you send out a certain broadcast here. Some people will think that, but then they don't see the broadcast I'm sending out when I'm doing it in front of a couch or what I do in front of a bookcase or in my office. That's a totally different one. Like in my office, I send out, it's more like a business broadcast. I'm in a more sterile environment. You're thinking more business. Bookcase, I know a lot of y'all be looking at the books I have on my shelves, and I've even had requests to talk about the books I've read. But that's sending out a broadcast. Even how you talk, and you notice I talk different here than I do in my car videos. It's extremely, extremely rare. I curse here, but I curse like a sailor in my car videos. All of those are broadcast. Every one of you sending out a broadcast. You got to understand something. When you put on clothes, when you wearing your clothes, how you style your hair, everything about you, your image, it sends out a broadcast. People going to think something. Hopefully they think something good, but sometimes they're going to think something bad. They're going to have a certain image. Sometimes they can deal with it, sometimes they can't. You broadcasting something, it's an energetic thing. But, when if you having trouble with people or how people treating you, you really have to look at how you look. What type of clothing you wearing? How are you walking? How are you talking? How you looking at them? Or everything you do, every action. When you step out the door, that's a broadcast. You broadcasting something. People going to think whatever. Whether or not they correct, probably, you know what, a lot of times they might not be correct about you. But they still going to have something. And it's powerful. How you walk, that's a broadcast. Like if you walk like, people, that's broadcasting something. That's telling people that you are a certain way. But if you walk like up and proud, got a good posture, that's broadcasting something. Every single person does that. You got to think, if you're being treated a certain way, well, what are you broadcasting to them? What are you sending out? How's your behavior? Because I've met people who would behave a certain way, and I was like, well, shoot, you behave in a certain way, this is cause and effect. You behave in a certain way, you broadcast in a certain energy, this is how people going to treat you, Like there was a seminar that I did last year. It was a Game King seminar and with Mr. Lucario, Miles Cunningham, Taekwondo, Kay Zagan, right? And there was a young lady there and she was dressed like she was not dressed professionally. And she got mad when people pointed this out to her, And I ain't gonna lie, even Rom was like, okay, you behaving like a little girl. This is your behavior. This is what you broadcasting, you know? Versus if she came in there, you know, dressed professionally as well. That's a broadcast right there. And it's very important that people think about that. Because as soon as you step out the door, you broadcasting something. There's no ifs, ands, and buts. Now, use the power if you want. If people treat you in a negative way, the first place you gotta look is the mirror. And then once you look in the mirror, you gotta say, do you have a negative perception of yourself? Because a lot of people will consciously project something negative and then wonder why people treat them a certain way. It was like, nah, you can't do that. It's like you got to use the power of your imagination to really think about your broadcast. What are people seeing? What do people think when they see you? That's why you have uniforms. Like you have doctors and stuff. They're usually wearing white because they broadcasting something. Whereas somebody who may be going to a party or something, wearing a party suit, you know, or clothes, or like a woman wearing a red dress, that's broadcasting something, you know? Like I've met some women, they wonder why guys are treating them such a way, and I was like, man, you be dressing like a hoe. I've told them. Like I knew one woman now, she was an attorney, but she would go to court dressed a certain way. I'm like, oh, why? This is why you having trouble. You're not dressed in a respectful way. You know? See, you gotta always look at those things. How you dress, how you move, everything. How you talk. You know, you broadcasting something every second. Every second you broadcasting something. Like I said, and people won't take it a certain way, but you have control over, at least, you have a lot of control really over what you broadcast. By how you dress, how you move, everything. You know? And yeah, some people might not can handle it, but you still have some control. See, one thing, now in my last episode on here, I talked about changing a negative perception of yourself. You know, many people have a negative broadcast. It's because they have a negative perception of themselves. They broadcast a negative energy. They can change that. Because I think of plenty of people. I've met some people, I don't know their names. I might see them around in the store or something, but they broadcasting something negative. You know, I've met some people, I was like, keeping a distance. Why? Because they broadcasting something negative. You know? So you have to always understand that. You always have to understand that the power of the broadcast. It's no joke. It is no joke at all. So anyway, that's all I have for today. I want y'all to think about that too. Think about your broadcast. How are people treating you? You know, you can look in the mirror. What do people see when they see you? Are they seeing something good, bad, whatever? All right. So anyway, that's all I have for today. I want y'all to keep rising and transforming, okay? And really think about what I've talked about, not just today, but this week. About the power of your imagination. About changing your negative perception of yourself and understanding that you always sending out a broadcast, all right? So anyway, I'll get back with y'all. Peace and blessings.